When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret? With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/try, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/try to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/try.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
And we are back here on Katz and Cosby. Let's go to Deputy National Security Advisor, the former one, in the Trump administration, Victoria Coates. Victoria, we have so much we want to ask you about. Let's first get to this big news that John was sharing at the top, where Milley, according now to transcripts that are coming out again, thank goodness for the Republican House, but they're releasing some transcripts which show that Milley was aware that President Trump said we need to keep everybody safe prior to January 6th, talking about bringing the National Guard and others. Where's Milley been all this time, and what does this mean?
Oh, Rita, good to be with you. No, this is just a shocking, I wish it were a shocking development. Having worked with General Milley, I'm not surprised to learn he was saying one thing behind the scenes and another in front of the cameras. But obviously, President Trump had no intention for January 6th to have gone the way that it did. This was not something he was inciting or encouraging. And this gives a lie to all of that very dangerous rhetoric that President Biden and Vice President Harris and all of their cohorts have been engaging on, saying this is the worst thing that has ever happened since the Civil War, and that Trump is responsible for it. It's a disgrace. It's an embarrassment. And I think all Americans need a better accounting of what actually happened on January 6th, not what the J6 committee, headed by Hettinger and Liz Cheney and all those folks, not what they said, but what actually happened.
And in fact, I just want to read everybody the quote. This is, again, from Milley. And what they're saying in the transcripts is essentially it says, I want to make sure that given all the large amount of protesters here on January 6th, that you make sure, quoting the president saying you have sufficient National Guard or soldiers to make sure it's a safe event. I don't care if you use Guard or soldiers, active duty, do whatever you have to do. Just make sure it's safe. Make sure it's covered. That's pretty strong.
Oh, absolutely. And it shows that he was cognizant of that. He did not want anyone in the Congress to be in peril. He was not trying to disrupt what the House and the Senate needed to do that day. It's just, and it is so outrageous that we have people still sitting in jail for this who are getting these extended sentences. It's just terrible. I think it's a national embarrassment. And somebody, it's not going to be Oprah, Rita, but somebody needs to ask Vice President Harris about this.
Yeah, that's a great point. Judge Weinberg.
I want to switch gears with you, Victoria. I want to talk to you about the Hezbollah leader who was killed by the Israelis. And this is a guy responsible for the bombing of Marine barracks in 1983 in Beirut, killing 200 of our people. And there was a $7 million bounty on his head posted by the U.S. government. U.S. government never got to him. The Israelis did. What are your thoughts?
No, this is huge, Judge. And what the IDF put out a little bit ago is that he was, after Shukar was, who was his predecessor, also under a bounty for the 1983 Marine barracks bombing, that Ibrahim Akil was the leader of the elite Hezbollah Radan unit, and that they were planning an October 7th style attack on northern Israel called Conquer Galilee. Remember, the biblical sites are up there. So they were going to go in and infiltrate the Christian, Druze, and Jewish communities up there and do that murder, rape, kidnapping, torturing, looting type sensational attack on or around the anniversary of October 7th. Lovely way for them to celebrate. And that the IDF had unmasked this plot. I assume that's why they started with the pager and other detonation attacks earlier this week, and then they went in and took this guy out. And he was literally at a plotting meeting. They took out 20 of the leadership of Hezbollah, and so hopefully this is a devastating event. And the White House responded by saying they were looking for a diplomatic solution. It's mind-boggling.
What did you make of also that Blinken and others were like, oh, we had nothing to do with it. We didn't know anything about it. Like kids, not even saying good for Israel.
And say nothing is always an option. Instead of making the United States look weak, Hezbollah, as Judge just pointed out, did not differentiate between Israelis and Americans in 1983. They don't differentiate between us now. They're happy to kill both at whatever their easiest opportunity. So if you can't say, thank you, IDF, here's your check for $7 million, and I think the IDF should actually get the $5 million that was under Rewards for Justice for Shuker, and they should get this $7 million for Akil. But if you can't do that, just don't say anything. It's pitiful.
Yeah, absolutely. And Cox.
I'm for Miranda Devine for Secretary of State.
And what about Victoria Coates for president? Then?
Exactly.
Exactly. Victoria, I want to ask you also about, speaking of president, I couldn't believe this. This is Ron Rowe. He's the acting director of the U.S. Secret Service. He comes out today and he said, well, we had some communication problems. But since the Butler rally, the president, former President Trump, has had the same amount as Joe Biden. Everything's good. And boy, did we do a great job in Florida. And I'm sitting there thinking, excuse me, in Florida, there was a guy hanging out for 12 hours by a fence line. And, you clearly missed him. You didn't check the perimeter. And if that's top security, boy, is the president in trouble.
No, 100%. And yes, you're right. This guy was there for 12 hours. There were no dogs. There were no drones. None of the obvious tools that you would have to secure a site like that for the true VIP. And that's that it's just a lie, and that he has come that close twice. This reminds me, Rita, of the 1970s and what went down with President Ford. And there were these two incidents, and it was showing the wheels coming off of the apparatus of our country. And so I think, I need the Secret Service to stop trying to cover its collective posteriors and realize that they have a severe problem, that Florida was in no way a great day for them. The fact that guy got that close, and that the rhetoric, as we were just talking about, around January 6th, around President Trump, is creating this sense that it is permissible to use violence against him. This is so deeply dangerous for our country. And, we've got to get through these next 6 weeks, and we've got to get to Election Day. And it's right now, it feels very, very unsettled.
Yeah, it sure does. And it's downright dangerous on so many levels. Victoria Coates, thank you so much for joining us on such important topics today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.